Hi, I'm Nika. Today we'll be studying the book of Daniel. First chapter, book of Daniel. I just would like to share some of my experience of this chapter 1. And many years ago when I read this chapter 1, I read about the story about Daniel and how they were captive. And then we will read the whole story here. And then when I read this, it was fascinating to me. I was so impressed, and something was fascinating about this, and what they decided and how the outcomes came out of when they refused to eat from the table of the king, and they only stayed for 3 years. They first of all they asked for 10 days. Test them with only staying on the vegetables and water, but then after that they were eating vegetables and water for 3 years. They refused to eat from the table of the king all these delicacies. And what happened? What kind of outcomes came out from that? Oh, God honored this because I think they just didn't want to. Let's just read it, and I would like to share something, and I would like to share some my own experience with this chapter. So in the chapter verse 1, verse 2, it says what happened. So in the third year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem and besieged it, and the Lord was a captive. Yeah, and the Lord gave the king of Judah into so read this, and then what happened? Then king instructed Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, to bring some of the children of Israel and some of the king's descendants and some of the nobles, young men in whom there was no blemish, but good looking, gifted in all wisdom, possessing knowledge and quick to understand, who had ability to serve in the king's palace, in whom they might teach the language and literature of the Chaldeans. I think it's Chaldeans or Chaldeans, whatever. And the king appointed for them a daily provision of the king's delicacies and of the wine which he drank, and 3 years of training for them, so that at the end of that time they might serve before the king. Now from among those of the sons of Judah were Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. To them the chief of the eunuchs gave names. He gave Daniel the name Belteshazzar, to Hananiah, Shadrach, to Mishael, Meshach, and to Azariah, Abed-Nego. But Daniel proposed in his heart that he would not defile himself. Here's the word. He will not defile himself with a portion of the king's delicacies. So that means he stood up for his nations. He stood up we are all put aside. Yeah, we are gods. We are separated. We're separated. And he wanted to separate himself, even though they were captive, and they were supposed to slave that king because they were, the battle was won by the Nebuchadnezzar. And but still, he said he is not going to defile himself. Eating almost at the same table. It's kind of comparing. So if they are feeding from the king's table, that means he's participating in the king's meal. So he said, I'm not going to defile. I'm going to eat with the king. I'm not going to. But he says, I will honor my God, and I will honor my people, and I will still be the nation who is put aside, the chosen one, and I will eat separately. I will eat everything raw. He will say, I will eat raw vegetable and raw water, yeah, so which is clean water, yeah. So he said, therefore he requested of chief of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Now God had brought Daniel into the favor and goodwill of the chief of the eunuchs. So God gave the favor. God blessed him, and he had favor with them. Yeah, who were above them. So the government. And the chief of the eunuchs said to Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who has appointed you food and drink. For why should he see your faces looking worse than the young men who are your age? Then you would endanger my head before the king. So he was afraid that, okay, no. God appointed, I'm not going to do it. But like, so I'm afraid of that. When at the here, so Daniel said to the steward whom the chief of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, please test your servants for 10 days, and let them give us vegetables to eat and water to drink. Vegetable, water, yeah? Then let our appearance be examined before you, and the appearance of the young men who eat the portions of the king's delicacies, and as you see fit, so deal with your servants. So he consented with them in this matter and tested them 10 days. So he gave them what they asked. And at the end of the 10 days, their features appeared better and fatter in flesh than all the young men who ate the portions of the king's delicacies. Thus, the steward took away their portions of delicacies and the wine that they were to drink, and gave them vegetables. As for these 4 young men, God gave them knowledge. So they honored God, and they honored God's people. They didn't want to defile, sitting at the same table almost, eating the same food. And God gave them knowledge, yeah? And the skills in all literature and wisdom. And Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. Here's what's happened. Now at the end of the days, those 3 days is past, when the king had said that they should be brought in, the chief of eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar. Then the king interviewed them, and among them all none was found like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Therefore they served before the king in all matters of wisdom and understanding, about which the king examined them. He found them 10 times better than all magicians and astrologers who were in all his realm. Thus Daniel continued until the first year of King Cyrus. So here was his 10th year. 10 days they were tested, yeah? And then king found them 10 times more, 10 times more wiser, smarter, more knowledge than all in his country, all in his kingdom, other smart people. So when I read this, I said, I am going to do the same thing, because I do want to have knowledge. I love knowledge. I love wisdom. I just love intelligence. I just love everything that it's connected to the wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and whatever God, and blessings and the favor. So when I read, I said, I would like to do the same thing. I would like to I'm refusing to eat what is world offering me. World offering me that just fantastic, phenomenal restaurants, food, and the grocery stores are loaded with everything, you name it. So, but I said, I am going to eat only vegetables and I'm going to drink water. So I did for 10 days, way back like many years ago. Results were amazing. God did honor my desire, gave me strength. So I was like, there was no animal products, like food, like no cheese, no milk, no meat, nothing, no flesh would come. Just only pure vegetables. And the oil, if I would use oil for my salads, it would be only vegetable, like olive oil or made of vegetables. So it was amazing. So from that and on, I made it's a habit. It's like habitual things. Like time to time, I would go on. Just this is Daniel's eating. Yeah, I don't know. If somebody says Daniel's fasting, Daniel's eating. So I would say Daniel's eating, which is vegetables, and just abstain everything else besides this. And as soon as I would just choose this way of living for certain days, like I did 10 days, 21 days, I did 30 days, I did 54 days. It's just like that was last month I just also went through for 54 days, also vegetables and water. Sometimes if I have a lot of things going on in my life and I have to work and I have to get up early in the morning and just I have a lot of list of things to do for my businesses, so I do add green tea, which is for green tea with figs, green tea with dates, with a great source of energy. So that I would include instead of water only. And every time I come out, it's just phenomenal. It's just I would feel way much better. So it's a sense of that's right, the knowledge, like it would just come and so like. Sometimes I'm thinking, how do I know these things? It just knowledge would come from above, from heaven, so naturally. So I would never do some of the things I would do first time, and I would just exactly know how it's going to be. The knowledge would be like just natural. I would know, and I was new like, some of the first time, like we're renovating right now a restaurant in a hotel business, and it's interesting, like when I go to the Home Depot or places when I need to pick up some colors and things and materials and this, for some reason I just know what to pick. I just know how it's going to look like. People will come that's supposed to be there. She just come on the time. It's a great favor of the Lord. It is something that like when you just detach yourself from the food of the world and from the worldly things, and then you just dedicate your time. You're become such a sensitive to the God's words, His voice, His teaching. There's a peace come along with that. There's understanding. It's so beneficial. So I would encourage you, time to time, just test this word. Just try how it is. This is true because I experienced that. Because the Lord wants to equip you with more knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. There's wonderful things to know things and to know how to create things and to know how to accomplish things. So this is an amazing chapter, an amazing kind of example for us. And I have done that many times, and I'm looking forward to next time when the Lord is calling me to do again. It is amazing things, and be blessed, and may the Lord in His word and His truth dwell in you and produce wonderful fruits. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.